Typically, when you're working in a laboratory, you're going to find that you need to dilute whichever stock concentration you're working with that comes from the manufacturer. Because you generally want a working concentration and a particular volume of whatever it is you're working with. But most of the time, it comes way too concentrated to use, and it's more convenient to store concentrated anyway. So the way I start approaching these problems is that I use the formula. Actually, I start by drawing parentheses, so I can show you this formula. That's an equal sign. C1 V1 equals C2 V2. Okay. And so generally, what I have on the left side of this equation is what you have. And what you need is on this side. So generally, we're trying to solve for how much volume do I need of this initial stock concentration to make the concentration and the volume of it that I need for my actual working stock. Okay, so how do we do this? So let's say that we have a concentration of 6 molar. So generally, molarity is something we would use. And let's say we don't know the volume of this just yet. But we know what we want. That's up to us. Okay, so let's say the protocol says we need a 1 molar solution. And we need, let's say we need 300 milliliters of this. Now notice the units, because this is where I generally say pay attention to units, because otherwise you'll end up with the wrong answer. And since this is in milliliters, this answer also has to be in milliliters. Okay, you can convert that from milliliters to liters afterwards, but you cannot go from milliliters directly to liters without converting. So if you rather work in liters, then convert this to liters first, or convert it afterwards. But you always need to be consistent with your units. Okay, so now we just have a basic algebra problem. Okay, we're trying to solve for this blank space here. So what we're going to want to do is divide by 6 molars on each side. And when we do that, we can cross out our units. And so our units cross, so our answer is going to be in milliliters, because we're able to cancel that out. And technically, we cancel that, all of that. That when 6 divided by 6 is just 1. And so it would take on our calculator then and multiply that 1 molar solution, okay, which is easy, times 300. And then we would divide that by the 6 there. Notice how I only canceled the units. And the answer is we get 50 milliliters. Now, we're not completely done with this problem, because 50 milliliters is the concentration that you're going to use of this stock solution, but we want 300 milliliters. So what you now need to do is take this 300 milliliters, and you need to subtract that 50 milliliters, and that's how much water or whatever the solvent you're using is, you need to dilute that into. Okay, so we take 300 minus 50, and that gives us 250. So 300 mil minus 250 minus, let me erase that, minus 50 mil is 250 mil of whatever solvent that we're using. Okay, so in most cases that will be lab grade water or something like that. The other thing you can do is, it doesn't all have to be water. Let's say you're making a concentration that also has something else diluted in it. Maybe this is sodium chloride, and you also want potassium chloride in there for some reason. You can put all of that, and you would use that same, you would subtract that out of your volume of solvent. Okay, but that's how you get those answers.